if you've got 500 quid or less and you're looking for hi-fi speakers to blow you away and give you the ultimate in sound quality, Ed, what should people be looking at in 2022?
This applies to speakers and it applies to everything else. If what I'm about to say isn't true now, it will be true in roughly 1 calendar year. I need people reading the site, listening to this, shopping for consumer electronics in general, I mean, I know it sounds ridiculous because inflation is affecting absolutely everything we do, but consumer electronics have been so nearly immune to it for so long that we've forgotten what the effects of it are. So I'm going to say something marginally contentious. £500 today is between £200 and £250 10 years ago. So when we say I'm shopping for a pair of £500 loudspeakers, you are, with the best will in the world, you are not anywhere, it's a not inconsequential sum of money. I don't have £500 at the minute, but nevertheless, it's not going to go that far. So the very simple rule of thumb is you want your loudspeaker to be as simple as it can humanly be. You want it to have the smallest number of drivers that is practical. You want it to be made out of materials that are recognizably, terrestrial in origin, because effectively the money that's been spent and allocated has been allocated evenly and on bits of the product which will matter and actually deliver you decent performance. So effectively, I mean, people who read my speaker reviews will know that I'm an enormous fan of two-way bookshelf / stand mount loudspeakers. It's my preferred. In the UK, it almost without exception, it is the best way of spending a given budget, unless you genuinely have a very large budget and a very large house. So £500, you would be best off looking for a two-way stand mount loudspeaker. You still have a considerable selection of options available at this price point. That will, include some, quite clever bits of engineering. But if you spend that money on 2 drivers and a small cabinet, it is going to be better than it is a large cabinet with multiple drivers in. I mean, to be honest, there aren't that many floor standers left under £500. And whilst there's the argument that you have to budget for stands don't wear out. If you go onto our classifieds, there's always someone selling a pair of speaker stands, and they're not normally that far from you because obviously they aren't going to post them because they weigh a ton. So have a look through our years of reviews, but the usual suspects crop up. The Q-Acoustics, the Missions, the Wharfdales, the Monitor Audios of this world, they are very, very good at squeezing every single penny of their development and budget out of making these products. And I tested a selection of stand mounts for one of the print magazines a while back. In the end, actually, it was a speaker that we have tested as well. I forgot to mention the Triangle Boreal BR08, which ended up winning that group test. That's still available for a whisker over £400. And something like that is going to just work better than something which is a giant badly damped selection of MDF and drivers flapping away at random. So that would be, I mean, as I say, I don't want to push this. This isn't as complicated as turntables. It's a case of allocating your budget on the smallest and most sensible item to get the job done. The other thing, like turntables, is of course you can buy used. Once again, our classifieds will always have certain things in. Just be careful. It doesn't take very much to cause a lot of harm to a loudspeaker, and not necessarily in a way that you can hear. And it's not a case necessarily of overdriving them. If you've pushed them too hard with an amplifier which doesn't have enough power, distortion kills loudspeakers far more than too many watts does. So as ever, if you're buying used, please be careful. Check to see if you can find out what the speakers have been doing up until this point. And yes, just go simple. I mean, there are some tremendously complicated loudspeakers further up the food chain. We know this. It's the same with everything else in consumer electronics. But at this price point, which is now fundamentally the entry-level price point, you need to be buying items where you allocate the money that's gone onto them into the smallest number of things.